there was a time when there was literally only eBay to sell your used stuff or, buy stuff that's used. Reverb came along, and then it was a good competitor for eBay. They've grown a lot and made it where it's almost more, I don't know, it's more familiar to buy stuff on Reverb now, especially audio stuff. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about audio stuff. It's more like comfortable almost for me in a way to do it on Reverb than it is on eBay even. And, I've bought and sold stuff on both platforms for a long time. It's an unspoken rule that you don't go around the company that's helping you sell the stuff. I can't tell you how many times, and it just happened again recently, and this is getting more and more common, where people will have something that's like relatively big for sale or not. It could just be a piece of rack gear, and they won't tell you until after you negotiate the price most of the time, but it doesn't even matter if they tell you before. Some of them have the gall to write it in the listing, cash and carry. That's what they put. There's only one reason, or maybe there's two, that a seller would put that in the listing or tell you that, after you've negotiated. For example, they say, this offer I just gave you, was for cash and carry. If it's, credit, we have to up the price by a little. And they do that after you negotiate. So first of all, that's a ridiculous move of somebody I would never do business with as soon as they do that. And you shouldn't either. But on another page, the same kind of thing, if they tell you cash and carry, the reason they're saying that is because they want to cut Reverb out of the deal. That is stealing. No matter how you look at it, it's stealing. Someone who is of low character would do that. Someone who's of low character wants to get every dollar in their pocket because in their mind, their pocket's more important than this company's pocket. They're neglecting a huge part of what life is. You must be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am a good person. If you can't do that, you have now tarnished your entire existence in order to get $100 more in your pocket. Who would do that? And who would support someone who's doing that? If you think that someone who's willing to steal from Reverb, the company helping them sell something, if you think they're not willing to steal from you, then you got another thing coming. Because that's ridiculous to think that. If they're willing to steal from a company with any justification, there's no justification. It doesn't matter what they think. This is a big company and whatever, I'll get the cash and I don't have to report it to Reverb. That's the only reason they would want cash, because they could go around Reverb. All they do is cancel the listing on Reverb and now they get to keep the cash. But they're also now a thief. They've stolen from a company. And this isn't no, goody two-shoe Karen kind of nonsense. What this is, 100%, is someone who's trying to save you from making stupid decisions that add up to now you are a person who is untrustworthy, who can't look themselves in the mirror, and now you got every bad piece of karma coming at you from every direction, and your life ain't what you want it to be, and you wonder why. I'm trying to just protect you a little bit from that, because there's two types of people in the world. There's thieves, and then there's people who do things without stealing from you. They do the honorable thing. And in every situation, if you have to think which you're going to be on what given day based on what type of situation, then you're not a good person. You're not someone who deserves anything good to happen to you. You probably deserve the opposite. That's who you are. There's no justification for it. You are now not a good person. So if you want to really take it to a higher level, look at it like, do you want to bet your entire everything on the fact that no one out there is keeping score? That nothing, no matter what you call it, you could call it anything. Whatever is out there, you think nothing's keeping score on you at all? You think when this ends, it's just over? I'm just saying, because what I'm telling you is whatever you think is out there, you're just betting everything on this moment. I'm going to get a couple more dollars and it's going to be okay. And let me say this, the other reason someone might do that is because they're going to give you a dud. They're going to give you a piece of kit, a piece of equipment that is nothing of what it's supposed to be. Maybe they opened up and took the transformers out. Maybe they could have swapped anything inside it. A lot of times when I buy used gear, I make sure, like every time I buy a piece of BAE gear, because I love BAE, I'll open it up, take photos, and I'm good friends with the dude over there in the customer service tech department, who's awesome. And I'll show him the photos and be like, does this look all good? Yup, looks all good. And then if I do it through Reverb, I get the 7 days where I could give it back or return it if anything's amiss, if it's all messed up, if something's different than it's supposed to be. So I get that buyer protection. That's why if they're trying to go around Reverb, it's either because they're a thief. Well, I mean, it's 100% because they're a thief, because they don't want to pay Reverb their cut. So that makes them a thief. And then they're going to probably steal from you too. What, you're telling me they're just going to steal from Reverb? They're not going to steal from you? So all I'm saying is it taints the whole thing for me. When that happens, when that goes down, like, I lost my entire taste for this particular seller, and I wouldn't buy anything from them, even if they had, the only set of 1073s left in the world or something. I wouldn't do it, because at that point you're supporting someone who is a piece of, you get it. So the point is, they're either going to scam you and they want you to do it off Reverb so you have no recourse, because if you do the deal around Reverb, you will have no recourse. Like, you're not going to be able to find that person, especially if they've got no reviews and no long history of being a seller anywhere. You'll have no recourse whatsoever. So it doesn't matter what you're buying, even if it's a piece of furniture. Literally, it doesn't matter what you're buying. It could be anything. But the point is, that thing could be not what they say it is, and you will have no recourse whatsoever, because that's a huge benefit on Reverb. You actually get a few days for it to make sure it's what it's supposed to be. And if it's not, you don't have to keep it. It's represented as something. And if it's not, you don't have to keep it. As soon as you go around that, it's all on you. And a lot of that stuff, you never figure out until a day later, 2 days later, 3 days. Like, you might not figure it out when you pick it up and look at it, especially if it's a piece of kit, like a piece of equipment that you might have to open up and look through. And it could be Component City in there, and you may not know what it's supposed to look like unless you look at a schematic or something. So therein lies the issues, right? So don't ever support anybody who does that, number one. Also, maintain integrity for you, for yourself. This has nothing to do with wanting to keep a company going that happens to be very good for musicians. There's nothing to do with that. It has to do with you and in here. And when you look in the mirror, you can respect yourself. That way, you know who you are in this world. And every decision you make, you'd be surprised how much easier your mind can rest when you never consider doing something that's dishonorable. All you have to do is always do the honorable thing, and you'll never have that worry. Your brain doesn't even consider doing it once you've trained yourself to do this. And this makes you a good person, someone who will go through life getting what they deserve and working hard enough to get it. And one more thing, let me tie in. This applies the same to people who think that buying fake likes, fake subscribers, fake views, fake streams on Spotify, anybody who thinks that you can do that and get anywhere, all you're really doing is you're muddying the waters. You're clouding up what it is that you have accomplished. So now when you're sitting there and you look at your channel and you see 5,000 subscribers or 10,000 or whatever you see, you don't know what came from you and being good at it and putting in the work, and what came from fake stuff that you paid for. And that will play tricks on your mind and make it where you won't think you're any good. The other way, you know it's you. You're proud of it. It grew organically. And that's exactly how I grew my channel. There's tons of people since I started that have been hitting me up about how to do what. And I want you guys to know, anybody who thinks my channel hasn't grown that much, I started doing this 1 year ago. Posting consistently 1 year ago. Prior to that, it was once in a blue moon. Every 6, 8, 10 months I would post something. So what I'm saying is, I started 1 year ago. And I know my numbers ain't Rick Beato numbers or Jacob Collier numbers or none of that, but They've been doing it for 10 plus years, both of them. I think Jacob Collier's been doing it longer. So my point is, it's got nothing to do with nothing. 1 year over here. And for about a year, it took about 9 months or so, around 9 months, I slowed down a lot. Prior to that, I was going hard, but that's because of other stuff. So there's no reason to even mention that. But the point is, I'm going to be back here doing everything I was doing before on a consistent basis. But this is what I wanted to tell you. Every single thing I've done is real and organic and just me. I have not hired anyone to put up anything and get any bots or any likes or any subs that way, because I know what that would do to me. And I don't want you guys to fall into that trap. I know plenty of artists who pay for Spotify streams, and it's fake nonsense. And whether they realize it or not, they think they're helping what they're doing. All they're doing is getting scammed. They're giving away their money to people who are juicing up the amount of numbers they get on their plays and their likes for nothing. It doesn't actually result in anything. Those people won't be interested in what you come out with next. They don't care what your next song is going to be. They don't care about your merch. They don't care about you as an artist. They're not even real people. It's absolutely crazy to me to think that anyone would put value in that. You know, years and years ago, I mentioned this before, but I got to say it again. When MySpace first came out, you know, and that was a thing where record companies were judging based on your friend count, how good a band is. Back then, there was a thing where, you know, you needed to have a lot of friends for people to look at your band like a record company and think it was something. And I fell into the trap way back then, and I had learned from it. You know, anybody who knows MySpace knows how old this is that I'm talking. I learned from it. Don't do it. By the time that was available to the average Joe to pay money to get friends, the metric wasn't valuable anymore. The people who at one point knew it was valuable, they also at that point knew it wasn't valuable. You couldn't judge anything based on that, so they stopped looking at it. It's the same exact thing with anything else that can be hacked, that can be achieved, you know, in a way that's not legitimate. It's the same thing. It's not going to do anything for you. You know, it's literally worthless. You're wasting your money. You're way better off putting out consistent stuff of any kind and pressing on your superpower, whatever that is. You know, make it entertaining, funny, comedic, dramatic, whatever you have that you're good at. Make that your way to promote your music. Do that and do it often, and put songs out often. Show people how much you are, who you are, all these sides of you, by putting out tons of work, tons of songs, by showing more and more. Build your catalog. You could always take your catalog and do it again later, but just get it out. Don't hold it. That's the way you could actually be somebody who deserves to get somewhere, because you're proving it. You're proving it every single day. And do it because you love it. Don't do it because you're hoping for the money. That's a big one. People who make the art because it's who they are respecting their gift for what it is. People who make it looking to get paid, that's commerce. That ain't art. You know, a lot of people on my channel feel this way too, because we've had similar conversations in the comments about this kind of thing before. And I got to say, it makes perfect sense. You must be doing it because you love it 100%. And if that's the case, it should be worth it to you to do more stuff out of your comfort zone to get people to see who you are. Do it consistently enough and they will come. That's the if you build it, they will come. That's what that is. If you put it there and put enough stuff out daily, they will come, and you don't need anybody who's offering you to juice your numbers up for some money. You don't need that, because it ain't real, and it will make you feel like you aren't capable for real. Like you don't really have what it takes. That's what it's going to make you feel like. So just trying to help you guys out so you can learn from where I messed up on the MySpace thing years ago. Don't ever do that. And maintain your integrity, because these things actually go together. That organic growth of your channel and the integrity you bring to the table every day by never cutting anyone out who deserves a piece. Never. Doesn't matter if it's a co-writer or a producer or anyone. You keep your integrity by keeping your word and never doing things that make what you were trying to build potentially crumble. You are trying to build a fortress, and every time you move in that way I described, where you're going down the path you know is absolutely right, always can't be swayed or moved. You, at that point, are a castle that is strong. You are not able to be swayed. And if you're thinking every time, well, I want the extra $100, so I'm going to go around, you are a weak branch of a tree blowing in the wind. You can't get anywhere like that. So I hope you dug it. This concept means a lot to me because I run into these guys with no integrity all the time on Reverb, and I look in the background of their pictures. They're studio owners. They got plenty of gear that I know a lot of it's not even made anymore. I know everything they got in their picture, and I think to myself, this is a guy who's charging people to come into his studio and he's working on their stuff. He's stealing from them if he's willing to steal from Reverb. What makes one different than the other? This is somebody out there who's just ruining the waters for all of us. He's out there doing some nonsense, and it's terrible. And I'm not going to blow up his name because I ain't like that. But this kind of thing has got to stop. None of this nonsense. Have some integrity. I don't care if you didn't learn it from the time you were a little kid. You're going to learn it now because it's important. So do that. You'll thank me later. I appreciate it. Throw something in the comments. Hit something up with the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it if you haven't already. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios, happy Thanksgiving. You guys got this. Take it easy.